hear me okay? Can you see me? Is it working good? Are the Instagram gods in our favor tonight?
It's so far so good.
Okay, cool. So I missed your intro. What you been talking about?
I'm telling everyone, what we're jamming out about today. Talking about, what does normal really feel like, and how most women, have no idea how good we're really meant to feel in our bodies because we've that state of feeling so tired and feeling stressed out, and 2, 3 o'clock hits and you're like, oh, I need another cup of coffee. How most people are like, oh, that's just normal, I'm just getting older. And it's not. And I know that both you and we've talked about that before, and that's why we wanted to do this, is because we've both been in that place, and through optimizing our nutrition and our fitness and setting up some really good habits, we've actually learned that no, you know what, you can have thriving energy all day long, and there's some very tangible things that we can teach people so that they can start feeling better too.
Yeah, 100%. I love that. And for your followers, I'm sure they're well aware of your energy level is like way up here through the roof. My followers, so you guys know I'm a nutrition coach, but for anyone who hasn't had the amazing pleasure of getting to know Chelsea yet, she's also an amazing nutrition coach. We came together and we were like, what can we talk about? Like, what's going to have the most value for both of our followers? And we came up with this idea because it's what so many of our clients both kind of mutually struggle with. It's the tail end of 2020. It's been a long year. A lot has, been going on, stuff that we haven't been expecting or planning for. And we've just been drained, like to the max, right? And I posted this up on my story a little bit earlier, like the word thriving. Can you honestly say right now that you are currently thriving in your life?
Yeah. So let's talk about thriving, what does thriving mean to you?
Yeah, because that gets thrown around a lot. It's a big buzzword right now. It's like the cute little word that we all say, that we all want to be thriving. Are you thriving right now? I'm so thriving. Right?
Yeah.
When I say that, I just think like operating optimally, right? On all cylinders, whether it's mentally, physically, emotionally, like just in your life, if you are just like loving life, kicking butt, and just like, as happy as you can be, the highest level of yourself. And that's just energy, like energy is everything, right? We can't live our life without energy. But what is energy? Where does energy come from? Energy comes from our food, you guys, like what we're putting in our bodies, right? So you might think like, well, what does like my diet or my food have anything to do with like my happiness or like how I'm feeling in my life? Well, it has a lot to do with that, right?
Yep, it's totally true. So I was just thinking, how can we help people decipher and really kind of get to know their bodies a little bit better and say like, okay, well, am I thriving, or do I need some help? So I have a list of things that I check off with clients, that we kind of tune in and say, okay, how are you feeling in these aspects? So
I love that.
over some of those, Kelly, and see what your thoughts are and see if you agree. So the first thing, of course, it's your energy levels, just like we're talking about. Your energy is everything. So that, when you're thriving, you wake up in the morning and you don't feel like you need to hit the snooze button, 2 or 3 times to get up. Yeah, you might feel a little bit groggy in the morning, especially during the winter when it's so warm and cozy. You might not want to get up, but you shouldn't take, 30 minutes to an hour to kind of wake up and tune in. You should feel rested enough that your energy levels, you're ready to go by the time the sun comes up. And then throughout the day, you don't have those moments of, oh my gosh, I just need a nap, I am so tired. You should have enough energy to move through your day, to get your things done, and mentally feel really clear.
I mean, let's be honest. Nobody like wants to get out of bed in the morning, especially if you have an amazing bed like I do. But when you wake up first thing in the morning, that's like physically when your body is at its peak, like its energy level should be at its highest. And then it starts to kind of come down naturally throughout the day. If you are at your highest level first thing in the morning, or like 6, 7, 8 a.m., and you are already like I can't move. I don't want to get up. Like, I just want to lay here all day. Like, if you're dreading the day, if you're not excited to take on the day, if you don't have the energy to just get yourself out of bed, like, that's a problem, right? And yeah, that comes from what you're putting in your body. But what you're putting in your body also affects your ability to get a good night's sleep, right? A good night's sleep, a restful, deep night's sleep. And that's a huge part of it as well. But yeah, first thing in the morning, that's what it should feel like, y'all. Like, that's what it should look like.
Mm-hmm. Yep, absolutely. Absolutely. And then energy, sleep, your mood, I think, if you're grumpy, you're not really thriving if you're feeling kind of fine on its own.
If no one wants to talk to you, like, you're not living a good life.
Yeah. So what about your hunger cues? This is a big one that I find a lot of people have really whacked out hunger cues. So what would you say are signs of thriving, of your body being in a thriving place as far as your hunger cues go?
Right. So our body is always, we want to be in this homeostasis, right? We don't ever want to be in any extreme. So whether you are just, your hunger is off the charts all the time, 24/7, it's outrageous. Like it's almost like you can't catch up to it. You can't fulfill or, fill your hunger, right? Or the opposite end where you're just never hungry. Like, you don't ever feel that cue, right? Like, hunger is normal, right? And it's something that our body is designed to create in us, right? I know it sucks and it's kind of uncomfortable sometimes, but like, that's a healthy thing to be experiencing. So if you're not experiencing, that's a bad thing. That's a bad sign. It's a red flag, right? But then if like you're just living in this constant perpetual state of like intense hunger, that's also a huge red flag from your body. So I know it's kind of hard because we say, well, crazy hunger, but also no hunger. Like, how do you know, what's bad or what's good? Well, that's when kind of like working with somebody to really break that down for you and your individual experience. But those are both two things that you want to look out for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I feel like, finding that balance between, well, am I too hungry or am I not getting hungry enough? For me, I find that I feel my best when I feel satisfied after a meal, not overly stuffed, not so full that I feel sick, but I'm like, okay, I'm not hungry. I feel satisfied. I've had enough. And then 2 to 4 hours later is when I start to get hungry again. And it's not this overwhelming, like, hangry. It's this gradual, you know what? I feel like I kind of want to have something to eat. It, comes in those very light waves is kind of what I think of it as, like getting hungry every 3 to 4 hours, but feeling satisfied after. Yeah. That's where I think is, that's good hunger cues and craving.
And being manageable, like it not ever taking over your life and like you can't just like get through the day. You know what I mean? Manageable, that's key.
But cravings, just thinking of hunger cues. If you have cravings for sugar, which I know is a big one right now, your body probably is missing some essential nutrients, some things that it needs. And when our body needs energy, when our hormones are struggling because they're not getting enough of the nutrients that we need, what happens is our body will start to crave things. I know that sugar is usually something that I really crave when I feel tired or when I haven't had enough healthy carbs in the day. I start to really crave sugar because your body knows that that's fast energy. That's really quick energy, and it's what your body is searching for. So if you find that you're always craving sugar, check in with yourself. Are you having enough fruits and veggies? Are you eating enough whole grain, nutrient dense foods?
Yeah, love that. Cravings is a huge one. And also kind of like the other side of that coin is just like mentally being so food focused, like almost obsessive to a point where you're always thinking about food. You're always thinking about your next meal. That's the only thing you think about. It takes over your mind, takes over your life, right? Or thinking about the weekend, like, ooh, what am I going to get into this weekend? Like, what's on the menu? Just like obsessing about food. And I lived that life for so long. I mean, y'all know my Instagram handle was Squat for Pizza from like 10 years ago, right? Because I was obsessed with food. And I just said, like, I just love food, right? Like, that's just my thing. It's just my shtick. I just love food. I love pizza. But that came from an unhealthy place because I was dieting and over dieting so consistently for so long, right? And that became my norm. Like, that was just who I was, right? It wasn't until I got my crap together that I realized it's not how you're supposed to be feeling or living all the time. But food focused, mindset for sure, and cravings, yeah, you hit the nail on the head. Like, if your cravings are just through the roof off the charts like that, that is your body like needing instant energy, right? You're having these crashes, these energy like highs and lows because you're not fueling enough, right? Your body's not getting nourished and getting what it needs. So it's smart. It's going to do what it needs to do. It's going to be like, yo, Kelly, I need some sugar. I need some carbs, like those highly palatable foods that we all love and stay away from, because that is instant energy. And that's what it's looking for. That's what it's needing because you haven't given that to it.
Yeah, exactly. You said something that I want to circle back to. You said that for so long you were very food focused and you felt those crazy cravings because you were trying so hard to just keep your calories really low and to eat less. And in there too, and my followers, I have a big eating disorder background, and for years I was on meal plan after meal plan and always trying to keep my calories low because that's what I was taught. I feel like that's what a lot of us as women were taught, is you want to keep your calories low. You want to burn as many calories as you can. Always go for low calorie. And because that's been a belief that was instilled in us for most people, for a lot of women, a very young age, that's one of the reasons that we started to, adopt this, oh, I'm just tired. Oh, I'm just craving things. That's a normal thing because it's what we were taught to believe was normal for so long. So what we can kind of learn from that, what I learned from that, is a lot of women aren't eating enough. And that's why we're feeling so tired. That's why we're feeling so out of whack, is because we're not giving our body what it needs, just like you said. So I have a lot of clients that they come to me in that state where they're not eating enough. They're really underfed. And to actually get them to lose weight, we need to take some time restoring their metabolism, giving their body more food to get them to that thriving place before they can safely and effectively lose body fat. But a lot of women are really afraid of eating more calories. I mean, we've got a lot of women in here. So if you're live right now, or if you're watching the replay, send us a DM, send us a comment. Let us know if you've been in this place where you know that you want to feel better, but you are so afraid to eat more. Because like Kelly, I know you really specialize in this. It's the concept of reverse dieting. So how do you coach clients through that place when they know they need to eat more, but they're terrified?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, reverse dieting is my jam. It's what I love because, who doesn't want to eat more food? And if you guys have been experiencing any of these things that we've been talking about, just going through and almost like inventorying, like all of these things that they're experiencing and struggling with, right? And when they see it all like laid out for them, like black and white, this is your life right now. Sometimes we avoid that. Sometimes we like convince ourselves that it's not that bad. Like, this is okay. This is normal. Maybe you've been experiencing these things for so long and you think that this is just like life and everyone's living this way. And that's not the case. Like, that's not how your life has to be. So just, going through these kind of pain points is what I call them. And, just laying it out for them straight up. Like, nothing you have tried in the past has obviously worked because you're here today, right? We're having this conversation because everything you've done hasn't worked yet, right? Education, I think, is a huge piece of this, like really teaching them up on what reverse dieting actually means. Most of the time, clients that I work with, I've never even heard of that. Like, what the heck is that? You mean I have to eat more to like actually be able to lose weight? Like, that doesn't make sense. That's crazy, right? So educating them, laying it out, like showing them like straight up, this is a snapshot of what you're going through, right? Are you telling me that you like don't want to work on that? Are you telling me that you don't want to fix these things? Amanda, hey girl. The reverse diet, when Kelly taught me all about it, blew my mind.
Oh,
That's the exact reaction most people go through. Like, holy moly, how did I go my entire life not understanding this, or like learning this anywhere, or hearing this? We don't get taught this stuff in school. Like, I didn't learn this in college. I had to teach this to myself on my own. You know what I mean? So, understanding what their goal is, understanding what they're going through, their pain points, what they're struggling with, teaching them why they're under eating and undernourishing all this long has resulted in where they're at today. Educating them what a reverse diet is, how that looks, and then what the outcome will be at the end. And reverse dieting is, there's different outcomes for everybody. We always hope that it goes one way, right? But sometimes it doesn't. And so we want a reverse diet to either maintain our weight. That is ideal. That is the goal. Maintain our weight through increasing our daily calorie intake, right? Some people experience weight loss while they go through a reverse diet. That's amazing. It's like a miracle, right? But sometimes some people are in such a poor place, in such a bad place metabolically, that they can put on a little bit of weight. And that's really scary in and of itself. And then that's something else that we need to tackle if that ever comes up, right? You kind of take these things as they come. But those are kind of the 3 possible outcomes of going through a reverse diet, and just like informing them of that up front, like setting them up. These are the things that may or may not happen. But you have to understand that we've got to go through this, right? Yeah. We've got to go through this right now, or you'll never reach your goals, right? You have this goal, you're at point A, you want to be over here at point B, and you think it should look, this way, right? But we actually got to take a little bit of a detour first. But we always end up here, right? So it's really about your future, maybe pushing the pause button right now on dieting and chasing all these things, how we think it should look, right? And sometimes we've got to go in a different direction to end up here. It's a little bit of a detour, like the back way. We got to go the back way to get to your goals. But it just has, it's just got to happen, Yeah. Really kind of making sure they understand that and why.
Yeah. So let's talk about, why would someone experience weight gain? And why would someone experience, maintaining their weight or even losing weight? Because, we know your metabolism is adaptive. And when I learned that, it blew my mind, because for so long I grew up hearing like, oh, I have a fast metabolism, I have a slow metabolism, my metabolism is dead.
Yeah, you just label yourself with this.
Yeah. I thought that metabolism was just this stuck thing.
Yep.
People had a fast one, some people had a slow one, and it was just, the luck of the draw, what one you
you're just born this way and this is your life.
Realize, you can change your metabolism. Your metabolism is adaptable. It means that you train your metabolism really what to do based on what you eat and how you move your body and how you treat your body. So if, we're looking at someone who's coming to us wants to lose weight, but is, stuck in a place where they're not losing weight. Maybe they're trying lots of diets, they're eating really low calorie, but nothing seems to be working. What's happening is that, okay, their calorie intake is way down here at 1,200, where normally their metabolism should, in a thriving place, be up here, maybe at 2,500 calories. Because they've been at this low calorie diet for so long, what's happened is that their metabolism has down-regulated to match that. Because like we said earlier, your body has this homeostasis set point that it wants to be at. Our body actually doesn't want to lose fat. Our body doesn't want to lose weight because it's just trying to keep us alive. So it's going to work with what it's got. So in a reverse diet, what we're doing is we've got your metabolism and your calorie intake down here. We slowly increase your calorie intake so that your metabolism can start to come up as well. Now, for some people, their metabolism might be a little more resistant. And this, if you are someone who has dieted, a lot throughout your life or have been in a really severe deficit, your metabolism might be a little bit resistant. And that's where some of that temporary weight gain is going to come from, is while you're increasing your calories and your metabolism is just taking a little extra time. And just like you said, this is where we keep the future in mind, is by staying consistent with this, even if we gain a little bit of weight, because it's just important to trust and invest in your future, pay attention to your future, knowing that your metabolism is going to get there. We just have to be patient. And I think that's one of the most challenging mindset pieces of a reverse diet, but it's so important.
Yeah, 100%. It's all about the future, not necessarily the present. And that's so hard for people to just like put a pause because they want it so badly. Like, I get that you want this right now, but like, don't you want it forever? Like, that's the most important question. Like, don't you want this to last and be forever, right? And just like you said, metabolisms are adaptable, just like they adapt down, they slow down. That chronic over dieting and long-term extreme dieting, and you're slowing your systems down, we can adapt them back up. Like, we can grow them. And that's how I talk to my clients about their metabolism. We want to think of it like a flame, right? We want to get that flame blazing, as tall, as big, as fast, raging, as big as we possibly can. We've got to fuel that fire to grow that flame, your metabolism. And that fuel is food, right? That's how we speed that sucker up, through a reverse diet, by giving it more food. And a reverse diet is like a systematic way of introducing more food into your diet. We don't just go from like one day eating 1,000 calories and tomorrow we're eating 2,500. Like, that's insanity, right? We have to systematically, slowly, over time, like small little increases, right? And sometimes I tell my clients, we're just like hiding this food. We're going so slow that we're trying to like hide it from your body. It doesn't realize it's there, right? And that's why we're trying to maintain your weight by doing that, right? Because if you do these like big fast jumps, then yeah, it's a little bit ahead of where your metabolism is at. So we want your metabolism to like stay with us as we rise. And we want it, ideally, it would be nice if it was always just a little bit ahead of us, right? But sometimes, like you said, there's just a lot more kind of like healing that has to be done. I call it prehab, metabolic prehab.
I love it.
Yeah. So, and honestly, like, it's really not a question of, do you need to do this work? Do you need to go through a reverse diet? Do you need some metabolic rehab? It's everybody. It's everybody across the board can benefit from this, right? Everyone's future can benefit from going through this process, no matter what.
Yep, absolutely. Does your body no harm by eating at your, doing a reverse diet or eating at your maintenance calories. It's just stoking that fire and building it up so strong.
And that's one of the big red flags, as we were talking about before. Like, how do I know if I'm under eating or under fueling my body? Well, has your weight loss stalled? Like, are you having trouble losing weight? Are you gaining weight at 1,000 calories, 1,200 calories? Like,
working out.
Clearly, that's a big red flag.
Yeah. Absolutely. So how to build a strong metabolism. Let's give some tactical strategies for this, how to build your metabolism strong. So yes, definitely make sure that you're eating a sufficient amount for your body. If you have questions about this, I know for sure, I love to help you out. I know Kelly would too. So shoot us a DM. If you're like, you know what, I struggle with some of these things, or I don't know if I'm eating enough for my body. Can you help me out? Let us know. We're here for you. We would love to help you, because this is what we do. This is what we were made for. So let us know. Some other things, getting enough protein. Yes. So many women have a tough time getting in protein, but protein is the most important macronutrient for your body and for your metabolism.
Yeah, not according to Jillian Michaels, though.
No?
You haven't seen that?
No.
Oh my gosh. One of her informative educational videos went viral. I guess it was over the weekend. And she was just bashing protein, saying protein's bad for you. You can have too much protein. These are the horrible things that could happen to your body if you eat too much protein. Oh my God, the world just went insane.
I mean, you can get a lot of gas if you have too much. You know.
Yeah, that's about it. But yeah, she's spewing all these horrible, unbacked falsehoods that she was telling people were legit and science, and they're not. So if any of y'all out there saw that, please disregard. She doesn't know what she's talking about. This protein is very important. It's very important. And I call it, when I'm teaching on macros and I'm breaking down all the different macros, I call it the body macro, the aesthetic macro. Like when we talk about physical goals, like that's the body macro. That's going to build your body when you want to look a certain way. Or like build a certain body or have a specific aesthetic. Like that's our number one. Like that's where we got to start. Protein, because we got to, build that muscle tissue. We got to preserve that muscle tissue, right? Protein's amazing. I could go on and on about it. I mean, protein has the highest thermogenic effect.
Yeah.
I mean, just increasing protein, you'll burn more calories. Like your body will go faster. You're fueling that metabolic fire. So by digesting protein in your body, you're going to be burning more calories than if you were digesting fat or carbohydrates.
Mm-hmm.
So that's an amazing leverage that you can have over your nutrition. Also, fiber does that as well. Side note, but protein's amazing. It has so many benefits.
Yeah. Protein, and then tagging along with fiber. Just, I would say, increasing your whole foods. There's a big difference for someone who's going to take on a reverse diet and is like, oh, I get to eat more calories? Great, I'm going to add a cookie every day. There's a difference between versus adding some fruits and veggies or some calories and healthy fats. There's a big difference in how your metabolism is going to respond because of the nutrients that you're getting and because of how digestion friendly these more whole foods are. They're actually going to stoke that metabolic fire more than processed foods will. Do you agree?
Yeah, 1000%. And that's why macros matter, you guys. Like, you can fight me on this, all right? I will take this to my grave. Like, macros matter. Like, if you're just counting calories and you're just shooting for like 1,800 calories a day and you don't care what you're eating, like you're doing yourself a huge disservice and you're leaving just so much like on the table, because if you're not eating any protein and you're just eating all fat, like you're not going to have the composition you're looking for, right? Or if you're eating no protein and all carbs and a little bit of fat, like we all need a specific amount of each macro. They all have their duty. They all have their job. Okay. But again, like I said earlier, like aesthetic wise, if you want to look a certain way or trying to build a body, like protein's going to be number one. So that's another thing I would say, another tip or step I would say and give throughout all of this is figuring out your the two numbers are going to be super important. Well, I guess you could say also macros, which are a number each, so that's like 5 numbers total. Figuring out your individual BMR, your basal metabolic rate. That's one of the first things I have my clients do, because I just think knowing that number is very eye-opening, because most people are not even eating their BMR.
Mm-hmm.
And if your BMR is the amount of food your body needs just to be alive, like if you were just a vegetable on a ventilator, to be existing on this planet is your BMR, and most people aren't even eating that much, and they're thinking that like they're gonna feel like $1,000,000 and their body's gonna do whatever the heck they want it to do and like lose all this body fat and look amazing. Sorry, not gonna happen. So I think it's very important to find that number. And then from that, you can find your total daily energy expenditure or your maintenance calories. And that's how many calories your body needs just doing everything that you do in a day. So your BMR plus all of your activity, plus your workouts, you know, the energy that you need in a full day for you in your life. And then from there, finding your macros, like finding your ideal protein, your ideal carbs, and your ideal fats. But I think figuring out those numbers are going to be a huge piece of this, if not just like education, but eye-opening. And then also just kind of like giving yourself some goals and some things to shoot for. Like if you're under your BMR, let's shoot for your BMR. Okay, girl? If you're already there, let's start reversing up to your maintenance level, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yep, absolutely. I love macros matter so much. I heard this thing once. They said like calories will determine what you see on the scale. Macros will determine what you see in the.
Yep.
And I just love that. I loved that. So yes. So figuring out your BMR first. And that's, I was one of those people that ate way below their BMR. And I thought, well, I'm still alive. So obviously it's fine. But, you know, going back to our fire analogy, stoking that metabolic fire, you know, when you don't feed a fire, what happens? It simmers down to just the coals. It's not necessarily dead, but you're not going to, you know, it's not going to keep you warm. You're not going to be able to cook anything on that. It's just, you know, barely simmering at the coals. And that's kind of what happens to your body when you're eating below your BMR. Things really aren't going to function properly. You're not going to be able to perform optimally. You're not going to get your desired results out of that because that metabolic fire is just, you know, it's just the coals at that point. So that's where it's so important to eat at least at your BMR, and then working your way up to your total expenditure, your maintenance calories, and figuring out your macros for just optimal results.
Yeah. Love it. 1000%. And that would be my next recommendation, is going through a reverse, like going through a reverse to get yourself to that BMR, to your maintenance calories and love and life. Like once you get to maintenance, like when you're giving your body the exact amount of energy it needs to do all of the things that you're doing day to day in your life, like you're thriving, right? You're going to be as healthy as you can be. You're going to feel as good as you can feel. You're going to have as much energy as you need, right? Your digestion's going to be on point. Your hormones are going to be happy. Your metabolism's going to be growing. You're not going to have that crazy like food focused mindset because you're good, you're nourished, you're like fulfilled, right? You're not going to be having those crazy cravings because your blood sugar's going to be nice and steady. Like that's thriving in life, right? And if you're not worried about all of these horrible things that you're feeling and going through and experiencing because your body is just like a dumpster fire, like if that stuff's good, like think about how much like time and energy and space in your head you've got for like other things going on, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. So we have just a couple minutes here. We have a couple questions, and if anyone else has questions, drop them in the comments and we'd love to answer them while we're live here. If you're watching the recording, just shoot us a DM and we'd love to answer any questions that you have. Okay, so Jokes on Quotes. That's a great name. You girls are wonderful. Thank you. So knowledgeable. Do you believe your diet in the winter should be different than during the summer? It depends. I would say it depends on what your lifestyle is like during the winter versus during the summer. If you are really active during the summer, calorically, yeah, you'll probably have a little bit of a difference. Macro wise, it really just kind of depends on what you're looking for. You know, there's different ways that you can determine what your macros should be at based on if you're an avid gym goer and if you're focused on performance goals, or if you're really just focused on like life longevity, just, optimal hormones and high energy levels, and not so worried about your aesthetics or your performance in the gym, then your diet is going to be a little different. So there's a few different ways that you could go. It really just depends.
Yeah, it depends. As all things in nutrition,
Yes.
always my answer. It depends. I don't necessarily think it should be one way or the other. Like there's no shoulds, like there's no right or wrong. It's just kind of like what's your life look like? What do you want to achieve? What are your goals? I think that nutrition should always be as easy as possible. Like we should never be fighting against something. So, given that, what happens in the winter? Well, the holidays, right? Typically we're around a lot more food. We're eating more food. We're enjoying more food, right? So at that point, if you're trying to diet through the holidays, that's going to be a little bit tough, right? So setting your year up, it's called periodizing your nutrition in a way that like flows easily with your lifestyle. Now, some people's holidays are the exact opposite than that. So that might not be so hard for you, right? So it's not wrong or right one way or the other. It's just about you and your lifestyle. And really kind of like looking at your life and looking at your year as a whole and like where do you want to be and when. So the majority of my clients, not all of them, but the majority of my clients, I try to set their year up where they're a little bit leaner, closer to the summertime. And then we start reversing probably through the summer, getting to maintenance around the fall time, and then chilling at maintenance or trying to do a little bit of a build or grow into the holidays.
Mm-hmm.
So should it look different? Doesn't have to, but it can,
Yeah, I love that. I know a lot of people, I'm working with a couple of clients on this right now where we're holidays, they've been at their maintenance, and now, for the next month or two, we're going to transition into a little more of a muscle building phase before, we kick off a cut in March to bring them into the summer. So I love that periodization. Yes. You should not be on a diet all the time. It's also not I'm on a diet, I'm off a diet kind of thing. You can set up your nutrition to support every phase of your life and work it's like seasons, really. It's like they can all support each other and you can optimize them based on what you have going on in your social life or in your just life in general.
Yeah, you should probably only be dieting maybe 25% of the year, if that. And y'all, the truth is like dieting is not our friend. Dieting is not your friend. It's just not. Like we really like the results that come from it, how our body responds to the process, but that response is because of some not so great things like taking place internally, right? We want to get in and get out as fast as possible and do it as quickly as possible, as few times as possible. Like dieting's not our friend. Sorry to say.
No, it's true. And I mean, really, dieting is like, why is it so popular? It's because it's an exciting thing. It's, you're making changes. Dieting is like, I've heard a lot of people label it as like dieting is sexy in the fitness industry. It's that exciting thing that, it's a little bit of a challenge. It's a little bit dangerous. It's something that gives you this awesome result, but you're right. It's not your friend, because what happens to your body when you diet is your body starts producing those adaptations. Your metabolism starts to downregulate, your hormones start to downregulate, your brain function starts to downregulate. Yeah,
energy, your mood.
And that's where we get, to come full circle. That's when we get to this point where we're like, why am I so tired? Why do I not have energy? Why do I have so much brain fog? I'm not thriving. How do I get?
Yeah. When you're just like not happy with your life, that's a big red flag. And for me, at least, when I struggled with that in my past, strangely enough, it all started with my nutrition, right? And that's why I am today, I'm a nutrition coach,
Mm-hmm.
because to me, that is just like, that's the root. That's the seed. Like that's the place to start, right? That's what creates all of this. That's what created the life that I'm in, and the body that I'm in, the mindset that I'm in, like everything that I have in my life, my happiness. That's what created all of these things for me, you know? Um, it's weird to say that. It's just food.
No, it's, I think that's one of the reasons that you and I get along so well, is because we share that belief. When I first got into fitness and nutrition and doing like fitness competitions and stuff, what I loved about, the sport of bodybuilding, and what I love about the sport of fitness is that we literally get to create our body in whatever way we want. It's like we're sculptors, and we use workouts and nutrition and recovery as our tools to shape our body in whatever way we want to. And we get to create that. And I firmly believe that when you take control of your nutrition, and when you treat your body with kindness, and when you can create your body to be whatever you want, that gives you the confidence, that gives you the power to then go out and do whatever the hell you want to do in your life. And I'm right there with you. My confidence and what I've done today and who I am today has come from my struggle, and then my learning journey with food and fitness and nutrition. It all stemmed from that. And that's why I do what I do too, is to help other women get to that place.
Yeah, it's crazy. And like people don't know what they don't know, right? So they go through life and they're just kind of like unhappy, or they struggle with depression or mental health, or they just don't like their job, or they're not fulfilled, and so often they don't realize that it could be like it could be stemming from this. Food is so healing in so many ways, um and this could be a huge, I don't know, problem for some of y'all that are out there watching this now. Maybe not for everybody, but it's very possible that, you could be struggling with a lot of these things. And maybe it's just, working with somebody and investing and figuring these things out, right? And getting this stuff on the right path for you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I know that, Kelly, both you and I are here to help whoever watches this, whoever has questions, and whoever needs help, because every woman deserves to feel like she is thriving in her body, and every woman deserves to feel like she understands her body, and that you know, she can be in whatever shape she wants to, and it's all in her control. And
Girl, I got to post it right here that says that exact same thing. It is your birthright as a woman on this planet to thrive in your body and in your life.
I love that.
It is. It's your birthright. We all deserve it.
Yep.
And it's not just for like everyone else. So if you don't understand like where Chelsea gets her crazy energy and big old smile on her face, like that's for you too. Like that is made for you as well.
Yep. Yep. Absolutely. Okay. Well, we're going to do this again for sure. So if anyone has any, ideas of things that we can talk about, this has been super fun. Shoot us a message. Let us know what you got out of this conversation. Let us know what your big takeaway was. And we love it. We'll be here for you.
Love you guys. Thanks for tuning in. We're here for you if you need anything.